Over $500 million liquidated in the cryptocurrency market in just 24 hours. Almost 200,000 traders absolutely wrecked, and most of it comes from long positions. There is a huge movement incoming into Ethereum and Bitcoin, and in this video I will reveal to you what are the next targets.
My crypto paradise.
Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is Simon from Crypto Paradise. In the previous video that I have recorded for you 4 days ago, we have been going through Ethereum and I have shared with you the bullish outlook we have. As you can see right now, Ethereum is exactly at our resistance zone that is created by Fibonacci retracement levels. With Paradise Family VIPs, we have hit some profit stop losses, ladies and gentlemen, on our swing trades. For example, right here, WLD we have closed for 16.6%, CHR we have closed for 15%, ladies and gentlemen. And in this video I will explain to you what is the reason that we are not rotating aggressively back into altcoins yet. I will also answer on the question why on ultra high time frame we are hedging with a Bitcoin short position despite our ultra high time frame bullish outlook on altcoins. I will also answer why Ethereum is becoming the new Bitcoin and the key Ethereum targets on the ultra high time frame. Please keep in mind this is just an analysis and my Crypto Paradise's team view on the market. It shouldn't be treated as a crypto signal buy or sell. That's exactly what we are doing in Paradise Family VIP only, where we are trading with a proper trading strategy and tactics, which is the only way of how to be long-term profitable in terms of years and years and years. Everything else in the short run is just gambling. If you don't have a proper trading strategy, your strategy is to fail. So these videos I'm doing for you to become a better professional trader, have a greater perspective on the current market situation, but it shouldn't be treated as a buy or sell signal. Having said that, let's start answering on the question why I do believe that after we have got stopped in profit on some of our altcoins swing positions in Paradise Family VIP, it is not the best idea to get back in or increase our portfolio exposure right now, and why we are waiting for a better moment to get aggressive again. So one reason for that is that we understand the market cycles, ladies and gentlemen. I've shared this with you in the previous video. You remember that we have been going through this and also this in detail, ladies and gentlemen, and right now based on our analysis there are signs of completions of this market cycle. That is why we are being careful with our trading positions and our portfolio exposure. By the way, these cycles, they're happening on multiple time frames, okay? So one cycle happens on a lower degree wave, another full cycle is happening on a higher degree wave, okay? So there is a difference between short-term waves and longer-term waves, okay? That's why we are differentiating the time frames: low time frame, ultra low time frame, high time frame, ultra high time frame. I don't believe that the crypto market cycle is done on a ultra high time frame, okay? I do believe that the cycle is just starting. However, I'm talking about the low to medium time frame completion of the cycle, and that is what we will be talking about in this video. So you remember, if you have been here analyzing with me the market in the previous week, we have been going through how the money are flowing from dollar index into USDT dominance, into crypto total market cap, from there to Bitcoin dominance, Ethereum dominance, and finally others dominance, right? The others dominance is the dominance of the altcoins excluding the top 10. If we take a look where is the power right now, we can very clearly see that unlike it was before when the money were flowing from Bitcoin into Ethereum into altcoins, right? And the altcoins were outperforming both Ethereum and Bitcoin. It's the opposite, right? Most of the power is right now in Ethereum, so we believe that the cycle is starting to reverse. And right now the question is for how long the power will remain in Ethereum. For that we can analyze few things. First of them is Ethereum dominance, and we will be discussing the short-term time frame and also the longer time frame view, okay? So from the short-term perspective we can clearly see that the Ethereum dominance was not able to close a weekly candle above the moving average trend line that is holding us in this bear trend, right? And also we are creating a bearish divergence on the MACD indicator because the histogram is making a higher high. However, the Ethereum dominance is creating a lower high so far. We are having the bearish divergence, the same one also on the RSI indicator. It's a textbook example. If you are on our website mycryptoparadise.com and you are educating yourself in our MCP for university, you know exactly what I'm talking about, right? When the indicator is creating a higher high but the price is creating lower highs, this is is a textbook hidden bearish divergence. So that is a bearish sign from a short-term perspective. Another one is that we have not been able so far to cross the moving average trend line and turn it into a support. So from the current perspective, there is something suggesting us that we might have a secondary corrective wave soon, unless we are able to go above this moving average trend line and reclaim it into a support. Then the probabilities will start shifting back to bullish again, and we might start stepping in the water and slowly increasing our portfolio exposure into the market with Paradise VIPs. Obviously, the next one will be getting rid of this bearish divergence, and the short-term bearishness will be absolutely away. Why? Because on ultra high time frame, what I have been discussing with you in the previous video, we are having a very clean reversal signs, right? So first of all, we are creating a double bottom formation, but not only that, ladies and gentlemen, we are also creating an Adam and Eve pattern, which is supporting this double bottom formation. It is making it stronger. That means the probabilities are higher that we are about to have a bullish reversal on the ultra high time frame, ladies and gentlemen. And in the previous video, I've also been sharing with you the next target. I do believe that Ethereum will be dominating the total crypto market cap by 34%, okay? But obviously, it's not going to be in a short straight line to the upside. It will be long and it will have waves, right? Definitely, I recommend you to watch the previous video where I'm describing this chart into detail. Right now, it's very important just to understand from a short-term perspective, the probabilities are higher for a small correction. From a long-term perspective, we are bullish, okay? Another reason why we are not rotating aggressively back into altcoins just yet is the situation that we are having with Bitcoin dominance, okay? Again, we will take a look at short-term perspective and then long-term perspective. So from the short-term perspective, you can clearly see that we are right now touching the most important, strongest Fibonacci retracement level 0.618, ladies and gentlemen. You can see this level and this sequence in nature absolutely everywhere is the strongest Fibonacci sequence, okay? And right now the dominance of Bitcoin is touching it. Together with that, slightly below us is the moving average trend line. From a short-term perspective, it just suggests that we might have some little pullback to the upside, okay? How did I create this Fibonacci retracement level? Is by taking a look at this wave right here, and I have placed it from the local high to the local low, and it basically beautifully created for me this support zone, ladies and gentlemen. We are also having an exaggerated bullish divergence on RSI indicator, as you can see right here. It's creating equal lows, however the Bitcoin dominance is having a higher low right now. So this is just adding up to the probabilities that we might have a pullback before going lower. Why going lower? Because if you have been watching the previous video, I've been analyzing for you early this resistance level from which we got absolutely beautifully rejected, and you know that from ultra high time frame perspective, we are bearish on Bitcoin dominance, which is bullish for altcoins. And I do believe that the Bitcoin dominance, the same way the Ethereum dominance will go up, the Bitcoin dominance will go to around 42% once we are absolutely done with this ultra high time frame cycle wave. Also, for this Bitcoin dominance to sustain the short-term probabilities of having a pullback, we need to stay above the 0.618 Fibonacci retracement level. If we start to get an acceptance below and we start reclaiming it and transforming it into a resistance by a break-in below, retest, and then continuing lower, that will be a sign as well for us to start stepping in and start increasing our portfolio exposure into altcoins again. Another thing is USDT dominance, okay? And as you can see right now, the USDT dominance from a short-term perspective seems to be bottoming out. Why? Because right now we are having a small reaction from the 0.786 Fibonacci retracement level that I have taken from this previous smaller cycle, ladies and gentlemen. Together with that, we are also having 5 moves to the downside because we are creating a new impulse lower. As you know from the Elliott wave theory, the final 5th wave is created by a motive mode wave, and the motive mode wave is either an impulse or, in this case, if it's a 5th wave, an ending diagonal, right? So I do believe right now we are starting to create a 4th wave, and very often if it's a deep correction, if it's a zigzag formation, we are going to touch the top of the 1st wave, ladies and gentlemen. That would mean we can start to reclaim this and this moving average trend line, and also this resistance. We might go as high as to this level right here. Again, if the USDT dominance is bullish, it means the money are flowing from the crypto market into the stable coins, right? And that's basically bearish sign. So 5 moves to the upside. This was the first one, second one, third one, and right now I do believe that we might be creating a 4th wave to the upside that might potentially touch right here. We are also having in the VPVR support, and then we will drop in lower towards 4.30%, ladies and gentlemen, and there is also a possibility of going even lower towards 4%, ladies and gentlemen, because that was the previous structure low. So from the short-term perspective, the USDT dominance is bullish, which is bearish for altcoins. From the long-term perspective, the USDT dominance is bearish, right, which is going to be bullish for altcoins. Again, for this short-term bullishness, this support zone needs to stay strong. If we start to reclaim it, the probabilities will again change, and this is going to be another indications for us to help us in creating some nice trading ideas. If we take a look at the Bitcoin dominance cycle, ladies and gentlemen, I'll go back on this side right here. If the Bitcoin dominance support will really hold and the Bitcoin dominance will start to increase, there are a few things what will hurt altcoins. The worst case scenario would be Bitcoin dominance to increase, Bitcoin price will start decreasing. This is probably the more likely scenario like right now, but also there is a possibility of Bitcoin dominance increasing, Bitcoin staying stable, and basically all the indicators that we have been looking at, they will cool off. The altcoins will be pretty much moving sideways, and that will be sign for us to reaccumulate. The lowest probability thing is that Bitcoin will start to increasing with Bitcoin dominance that will take a volume from Ethereum and also altcoins, and they will decrease. Why is this the lowest probability? Because by looking at Bitcoin right now, we can see that we are at this ascending trend line resistance, ladies and gentlemen, and henceforth, until we can reclaim it, we are bearish. And this is also one of the reasons why we are hedging our altcoin bullish perspective with Bitcoin hedge short position, because I do believe that we are about to start moving down towards $44,000 after the cycle of Ethereum and altcoins is finished. And I will be talking more about the indications that supports my idea right here. But firstly, let's have a look why I do believe that altcoins will be much more bullish than Bitcoin very soon. This is not really supporting the bias of Bitcoin dropping. However, altcoins will definitely outperform Bitcoin. This is one of the reasons why. From the long-term perspective, ladies and gentlemen, as you can see, the total 3/Bitcoin index, by the way, this is what shows you how altcoins excluding Ethereum are performing relative to Bitcoin, okay? And as you can see, since 2023, we are in this downward pressure, we are in this bearish trend, right? And we are creating lower lows after lower lows, and the RSI indicator is creating higher lows after higher lows. This is a classic, the strongest one, bullish divergence, ladies and gentlemen. When the price is creating lower low but the indicator is creating higher low, this is the classic bullish divergence. This is basically the strongest one, ladies and gentlemen. And you know that I have been, since $19,500, I have been telling you that Bitcoin is bullish, and I have not been talking much about altcoins. I have been talking about Bitcoin, and voila, we have been riding the waves to the upside, but altcoins really weren't performing very well, right? And I always want to be trading and positioning myself with the Paradise team into the market, where is the biggest probability we will maximize our profits. That's what we then share to our Paradise VIP members with the Paradise team. And right now, ladies and gentlemen, by understanding the context in the market, okay, and the context right now suggests that in the long-term perspective, the altcoins will really outperform the Bitcoin, and this index chart really helps with that idea, okay? It is not just this huge bullish divergence that we are creating since 2023, ladies and gentlemen. It's also the trend we are having with the volume right here. So as you can see, from 2024, from February 2024, when the volume is declining, then we have a surge in the volume, and that surge in the volume is for the bullish side, okay? And right now, as you can see, we are again having a decline in the volume, and based on this trend, it suggests once we have a surge in the volume, it will be to the upside and will help the altcoins to go to the upside. Confirmations are that we will basically go and start reclaiming this moving average trend line. However, from the whole perspective, you can see very clearly that we are just creating a higher low on the higher degree chart. This is just a corrective secondary wave, and we will start very soon creating the higher degree third wave. I believe that Ethereum is becoming the new Bitcoin. So if we take a look at the chart of Ethereum and we compare it with the Bitcoin, ladies and gentlemen, and we basically take a look what was happening in the bull cycles that we had in 2017 and 2021, ladies and gentlemen. So let's take a look how the Bitcoin was performing relative to Ethereum, okay? So let's take a look, for example, right here. This chart basically is a Bitcoin chart. This chart right here is Ethereum chart, okay? So let's take a look. Bitcoin right here in December 2017 topped, all right, and start creating a lower high afterwards. Let me show it to you right here. Lower high, okay? However, Ethereum, it didn't create a lower high, it created a higher high and started the uptrend, okay? So here it basically changed in positions. The Ethereum started its uptrend, the Bitcoin however started to underperform and started a bear trend, alright? So that happened in 2017. Another confirmation however I have right here that it's happening very often, that Ethereum is flipping in the end of the cycles Bitcoin, and it happened right here in 2021 as well. As you can see, the Bitcoin created a lower high, however the Ethereum higher high and started a new uptrend, alright? And right now I do believe that we will have something similar. The Bitcoin is not able to cross above the previous high. I do believe that there is a high possibility of the Bitcoin price to start declining. The volume will start to flow into Ethereum, and thanks to that Ethereum can start outperforming, okay? And about the targets, ladies and gentlemen, we will take a look on ultra high time frame where the targets are. First of all, let's take a look on the finished expanded flat, okay? So right now I do believe that the expanded flat that I have been analyzing for you in the previous videos really finished right here. The CVA finished right here with this bullish hammer candlestick pattern at the 1.272 Fibonacci retracement level, and the confirmation for that is that we have closed the weekly candle not only above the moving average trend line, above this one, but also above this Fibonacci retracement level. So I do believe that higher probability is that this is the first wave of an impulse, and very soon we will start to have the secondary wave. And right now the question is where the secondary wave of an impulse will finish, alright? This is the expanded flat, and basically this is the new impulse. I do believe that right now we are finishing the first wave of our impulse and we are about to have the secondary wave, okay? So I do believe if the Ethereum wave is really starting to finish from the current prices, or maybe even a little bit higher, what is going to be an important level for us is this 0.61 Fibonacci retracement level right here at $1,870. Ladies and gentlemen, I will create a support line, horizontal line right here. It is not only this Fibonacci retracement level that we have gotten from analyzing this cycle, but also if we take a look at the liquidation map, we can see loads of liquidation positions from late longs are positioned exactly right here. So for the market makers to drop the price lower, get enough volume, get enough fuel thanks to this liquidity, retouch this Fibonacci retracement level and then continue higher is actually really good idea. So once we start going higher, I do believe that the next targets, as you know from the previous videos, are very high, okay? Nobody expects this, but my first target is actually $9,000, ladies and gentlemen, and you know that the maximum potential target I have at $19,000. That is around 600% higher from the current market price, ladies and gentlemen. Absolutely amazing. You know how did I analyze it from the previous videos? Basically, let's take a look at the cycle we had in 2017. I've already analyzed this in the previous video, but let me show you one more time. We had a prolonged period of no trading activity, right? And then we started to create this horizontal triangle. So let's take a look what we have right here on a larger scale. As you can see, prolonged period of no activity, and then we started to create this horizontal triangle. And why the $19,000, ladies and gentlemen? Because if you take a look at the depth of the triangle, okay, and you calculate it from the low to the high, and you put it to the breakout point, 1, 2, 3, it's actually 3 times that was the target of the bullish cycle, ladies and gentlemen. And because we are following the price action and everything absolutely perfectly, and it's really similar to 2017, if I take a depth of this newly created triangle, basically from the low to the high, I put it to the breakout point, which might be around here, and then I put it 1, 2 times 3, basically 3, we can see that the target is around $19,000, ladies and gentlemen. I will keep you updated in the next videos about this. I will keep you updated about the shorter time frame as well. If you didn't completely hate this video, if it's helping you at least a little bit, feel free to smash the like button. You don't need to, obviously, but feel free to smash it, and I will see you again on Thursday. Cheers!